Marty, welcome to Timelines.
Hey, Bill, it's great to be here.
So I've got to ask, this Bad Rhino, what's Bad Rhino all about?
You know what? That's exactly why we have the name and kept the name that way. Everybody asks every single time, presentation, proposal, just meeting at a networking event, podcast interviews, doesn't matter. People ask about it. And how it came about is very simple. Very simple.
Now I'm going to stop it real fast. You're getting a lot of S's, de-essing. Do you have a mic by any chance, an ATR 2100?
I start new.
Okay, Mike. Okay, Marty. Okay, Marty. We're starting up here, and just so everyone knows he's got a headset on, so we get a little bit of S-ing on it, but it's not bad. It's very clear. It's the Apple earbuds, and they work fine. But all his mics are out in the field right now. That's good. You're busy. You're working. You guys are working.
Yep.
So what are you guys doing today?
Well, we're doing a couple of different things for some smaller clients. Just kind of setting them up with a couple of professional shoots that are, they're not like top of the run. You're not going to win some Academy Awards with all this, but what you're going to do is put them in a better light and kind of set them apart from other small businesses. And that's what we do at Bad Rhino for all social media marketing.
Well, your video is really good for Blab right now. You've got that nice background, which is brick, which is good for Pennsylvania, and you're in Philadelphia.
Yeah, just outside.
We're in Reno, Nevada. So we got a ways. We're a long ways away from each other across the country, and it's late there. Thanks for coming on so late too.
Oh, no problem.
4 o'clock here, so it's 7 o'clock there. So appreciate it very, very much. So going on, you're in social media, but it sounds like you do so much more than social media. What type of services do you do, and how is the business doing?
Sure, business is going great. We're just celebrating 5 years. And what Bad Rhino is a social media marketing agency. We focus, just think of a regular marketing agency, but we focus specifically on social media. So all the strategy and everything that goes about it can completely outsource to us, and we take it on. So everything from reputation management to the strategy to the actual posting, reporting on all the analytics, and keeping everything running and driving traffic through social. With that, comes with websites, SEO, Google pay-per-click, and we have partners to provide all that and more.
So you put a team together, sort of like a general contractor too, to get the resources.
Yep, you have to. I
I'm finding more and more, I have to do that. I've been studying this environment for 2 years now, and playing around with podcasts, have a lot of websites. I do podcasts for other programmers and developers.
Oh, cool.
And help them host it, and that's been really interesting. I've learned a lot. But what I find is you can't do it all yourself. That's the biggest thing.
So go nuts.
Your clients, I noticed you have some clients who are in the restaurant business.
Yep.
And what type of clients do you have?
We have a wide variety. Everybody asks, well, how did you have such a diverse group of clients? And I think it was just the time that we came on the scene. 2010 into 2011 is when we started. And with that came a lot of different companies and services that were looking for social media solutions. We fell into the restaurant niche, and that's been very good. We're also in the golf niche, craft brewing, recruiting, professional services, a wide variety, big and small.
Yeah, one niche will lead to another, but within that niche, you get referrals and it builds on each other. Have you ever done any politicians?
Actually, no. However, we've been down the road with a couple, and it's been very fascinating to see.
Yeah, just helping them out at times. They've got specialized services and cookie cutter at websites, a lot from the consultants to set them up, things of that nature.
Yeah,
and it's temporary. Doesn't last forever. It lasts for a political campaign, unless they get elected, and then they get ready for the next campaign.
Then the whole game changes.
Most politicians, most people who run actually don't get elected because there's more people that run than actually win.
Very true.
Primaries. So interesting business to be in. So going on your business in SEO, what is the most important thing we can do in the SEO side of the house if I have a website?
First thing to do is actually get somebody that knows what they're doing. I think that's the biggest key. That game changes faster than just about anything. The way SEO, I like it now, different than it was 10 years ago, 8 years ago, is that it's actually more true. And it's now focused more on content, what you're doing, kind of putting out the social signals and things like that. But I think the biggest thing with any marketing strategy is know what you're doing.
This is designed, this is a podcast, but I love it because we produce it on Blab. And we got a question from Christopher. He says, what was the hardest social media network to master?
So the hardest one to master, that's a great question, Chris. Thanks for it. I think it's the one that you try and force yourself into. So I see a lot of people doing things like this on Blab or Google Hangouts or YouTube videos that aren't comfortable being on video, and it shows. And that's the hardest way to try and master something you're not comfortable with. So the way I see it is, each business, each person that is putting out information and marketing via social media, they better pick a medium that's, puts them in a flattering light, that they can then work on and then master one and move on to the next. So if your big thing is writing, start a blog. You can utilize that, push the links out via Twitter, via Facebook. If you are comfortable on video like this, you can do that, record the audio, much like we're doing here, utilizing Blab, and put out little snippets. There's a variety of different ways, but in terms of mastering something, the biggest thing I see is people trying to master them all at once and failing miserably.
That's a really, really good point there. Start slow and build up. Yep. I know for me, this is new. I'm a design build engineer with a lot of AutoCAD and a lot of networking. But to move into the WordPress environment and then tie everything together to try to create a business, it's a lot of work, and it's very, very difficult and takes a lot of time. That's where if you have the money and can find the right team of people and experts to advise you and help you, you move so much faster. FYI, you said something I thought was unique. Gary Vee on the 16th of March did his first Blab. Mm-hmm. I also interviewed 236 Eric Shue on the 16th of March, who did his first Blab. And Eric was so much better than Gary Vee.
Why is that?
Well, Gary Vee was backlit. He had lights. He was not set up. His sound was okay. But I was really surprised how he'd never been on Blab before. So he didn't really jump in. He's trying something. He's trying first time on Blab. Yeah. And then Eric had pretty good lighting and a good mic. And your mic's okay. You have this one. I like to see the ATRs 2100 because you get a little S-ing. But and you are doing well too because you got great lighting. But he just wasn't that good. So I realized I created a course a while back and said, would anybody get it? And it's like a $7 course. It's really the basics. What you need to do just to start getting on Blab. First thing you need to do is just get out and play around with it and talk to people and do the crazy Blabs. Though I wonder if the platform is going to be around. So of this social media, what do you see happening in this kind of social media, which is Blab? And I guess you would call it social media of sorts.
Absolutely. So the first thing, as everybody knows, is owned by Twitter, or it's an offshoot of Twitter. That you leverage everything through a Twitter login, which I think is cool. This is like the $1 million question I get all the time, and I literally call it the $1 million question. I should call it the $1 billion question. How do you advise people on what channels to go to and spend their time? Just like we were talking about, and Chris asked a great question about mastering it. I follow Wall Street. And I've guided everybody in a business sense to there. Now, with that being said, do I wish I was like Twitter user number 2? Absolutely. Do you think that there was a difference if you got on there very early? There is some of that. I think it's less of a factor nowadays because you watch everybody gravitate towards Snapchat all of a sudden. It's like, oh, you got to be on Snapchat. You got to be on Snapchat. I don't disagree with that at all. However, can you monetize Snapchat if you don't have an audience? So maybe you build your audience and then direct them to Snapchat. There's still a lot of different things that need to be worked out when something new comes about. I like Blab. I like the idea. I like the concept of it. But you also want to be careful where you're spending your time, and you want to make sure that where you're spending time gives you the best, not necessarily ROI, but if you're creating content, make sure you know where it's going and what you can do with it and multi-purpose it like we already talked about. Right.
This is definitely going to be multi-purpose. This will be up on YouTube very fast. And I have another test site. It's called ublabcast.com. Everything's automated. Yep, it'll go to it, load to it automatically. Everything on that will happen through automation that I played around with. Though it's on Bluehost, it's on like my lowest level server. But yeah, I've got Bluehost doing about 3 different servers, and one's DigitalOcean, which is very fast. Solid state. But yeah, that's interesting. So what do you see on the horizon? What's in the latest greatest? You talked about Snapchat, and I've heard that before. You have to have an audience, you have to have followers, and you have to have a mail list. Would you go with your general clients? Do you take them back to mail lists? I mean, you got to have a mail list to start.
Yeah, it's the death of email that was coming around in 2002, 2003 still hasn't happened yet. In fact, I would say it's very strong in terms of creating an environment to sell to and having it as your sales funnel and communication tool.
Yeah.
So, what do you see? How do you do it? All those sort of things are kind of, come up every day, every time you start a new client, every time you're talking to a potential new client. And the biggest thing is Bill, I would say, what's worked best for your business, right? Very simply, like what's worked best in marketing. I've had people that have been in business for 40 years. I've had people that have been in business for 40 seconds. And, sometimes they'll have something that's very simple. Oh, my referral network. Okay, great. Well, social media is like referral on steroids, but we have to leverage it appropriately. If you have somebody that says, I ran an ad that I've run to a doctor's journal, that I run every year, cost me X, and I get X amount of new clients from it. And you know what? I'm very happy with that. Okay. Why would you want to do anything else? And you keep moving them through that questioning. You want to make sure that you're amplifying things via social media that works in their business. So you don't want to lead somebody down a path that's like, okay, let's go on the Snapchat, let's do it on Twitter, let's create a YouTube channel, let's do a blab, when they have something that works. And many times it comes back to the very simple thing, a customer list. Usually it's on email. Many people don't have it even formalized in an autoresponder. They have something that's kind of a hodgepodge of like Outlook or Gmail or something. So it's really starting to organize those efforts so that they can actually take a look at it and get analytics back so that they can improve all facets of their marketing.
That's very good. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a 2-minute break. Then we're going to come back. I'm going to ask you one last question about the technical side of your business. I'm going to ask you about you had a restaurant and what would be the 3 social medias you'd want to start with and apply first. And then we'll go on to your background and your success and life principles.
Awesome, Bill.
Okay, coming back off the break, we want to look at a case study of a restaurant. Now, let's say I have a small restaurant. Let's say I mostly cater to breakfast and coffee and maybe light lunch, and I close down at dinner. So with that restaurant, what 3 social medias can I apply and start with?
Yeah, no, that's great. I actually like how specific you got there, Bill, with the breakfast kind of the main thing and then just throughout the day. And that's important to know, like when your clientele is active. You need to know when that community, whatever channel it is, and we'll get into that in a second, when they're utilizing it and what they're doing. So the first thing is you can't ignore the big 2. You can't ignore Facebook and you can't ignore Twitter. How you spend time on those things definitely is going to be impactful here. The third one that I would throw in the mix would be Instagram, because it's popular. People like to post pictures of food. They want to check in. Instagram has, a cool feature where, yes, it's owned by Facebook, but when you post a picture, you can put the location, you can push it out to Twitter, you can push it out to Facebook, pretty simple. So for a restaurant owner, and actually doing a training later this week on this, to their, people that are doing it day to day, it almost has to be in real time. So Instagram is great just by the name, Insta. It's a Polaroid picture. So how do you mix all this together? One, you're going to, put everybody and drive them to Facebook and probably put them in terms of maybe an offer or 2, a weekly special, maybe on your slow days. Let's say Tuesdays and Thursdays are slow. So you want to drive more people there. Maybe you have an entree that's half price for lunch or a breakfast special each one of those mornings. You want to communicate via Twitter. One of the things that separates Bad Rhino from a lot of other marketing agencies in social media is that we go out and we recruit for that community. Twitter is great for that. We're not going to club them over the head and say, come over here. But what we're going to do is we saw you check into the diner across the street. Just wanted to let you know that, hey, we're over here too. Maybe check us out. It's a very soft sale and it works very effectively. You can offer quick, simple coupons on Instagram and Twitter, as well as Facebook, and you tie it all together with a content calendar and a schedule and run a modest ad budget for a local area within, say, 5 to 10 miles, and then pull in your current customers and get them involved in the conversation and create an engaging environment. And it works very well for restaurants.
As I described a place called Squeezed In, it started in Truckee, California, and they put their second one down here in Reno. And it's exactly what I did. It's Squeezed In. It's really neat. I just dropped their website in, but I think they could take a little bit of advice from you, but they've done pretty well on social media. They've used YouTube a little bit.
Sure.
And they've had competition, and then they have little cards where they get your email address. and they get your anniversary and your birthday to try at least. And then they send you out, freebies for those days.
Yep, absolutely.
Bottle of champagne for your anniversary, but I don't think they're using those other medias that you mentioned. That probably help them out. But they have updated the website just recently. I just looked at it. So I've been watching them grow. So very good. So let's go ahead and we'll talk about your life and success principles. So I always like to do this. Is kind of fun, and I'm going to read them off. So your first one is do the work.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing is most people get stuck in, I need to be here, or I'll do that when I get here, or I'll climb the next rung of the ladder when I get to this, or I'll do this when here. And it's, simple. I mean, you have to do the work. Some mornings you're going to get up, you're not going to feel like doing it. And other days it's going to flow like crazy, and you just have to keep doing it and kind of organize your time that way. So there's a balance to it, but you have to do the work.
I'll tell you what, that's so true. And entrepreneurs work more than anybody I know.
By far.
There's a lot of work to do. Very good. Stay honest.
Yeah, it's another one. I mean, it sounds simple when you say it, right, Bill? Stay honest, right? And, it's one of those things in business that as long as you treat people very well and you're honest with them about what the services that you're going to provide, I found that to be the biggest fail-safe for everything. I mean, it's like, okay, here's what your SEO plan is going to be. Here's what your pay-per-click plan is going to be. Here's how your communities are going to, be built on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, et cetera, and give them a path and be honest about it. And where you hit those marks, good or bad, you're going to share that information, and it works out very well.
Very good. Treat others with respect.
Kind of goes right hand in hand with honesty. You meet a lot of people, you don't know what their backgrounds are. I get a lot of business owners that come in that you think, wow, maybe they don't have the money to afford to outsource this, and you'd be surprised. And you just have to treat everybody how you want to be treated. It's a very simple rule. And I think in business, people forget that. And for success, I've had so much success referral-based business in my life that it comes down to, I got 2 emails before jumping on here where somebody just said, I don't know, Marty, if this is in, but I need to connect you two because I know both of you are nice people, and go from there. And it's worked out well. I mean, I can point to 7 figures easily, millions of dollars of business that I've done within this company as well as others that have come right back to just referrals because I treated people the right way.
You've been in business for 5 years, so you're there where you have this referral coming in and you've succeeded. That's really hard to get to that 5-year mark, and it helps to have those referrals because you don't have those when you start. You got to really hustle and build. I've built up 2 companies, one a design build construction company. We have a real estate company almost parallel to each other, but it always took 2 to 3 years to really get going and get systems in place. Those first years are tough.
They are.
What's your different, any advice for those first couple of years, someone starting to apply that same principles? You don't have referrals. What did you do?
Yeah. So going back to just the referral piece is when you first start out, don't be afraid to ask people for business. Okay. It may not be, you might be sketching out in your head, and I'm just going to make this up just a touch. And it's a $10,000 project. And you know that everything down to $1 needs to be X. And, you could, okay, so this one's going to be profitable by Y. Whatever Y is, doesn't matter. Don't be afraid to go in and talk to somebody that you know and tell them about your service and allow them to critique you. Because what you don't know usually kills you in those situations down the road. And people are afraid, in my opinion, when they first start out, to take that criticism. My business partner, Rich, did a great job when we first started Bad Rhino, that we went out to people and said, this is what you need. And they gave us feedback right away. And what was really cool about it were a lot of things that we never thought of. Some of the pieces that we did, they were like, yeah, let's just change this. And yeah, can we get started? And it was mind blowing because we didn't really have a pricing structure. So it kind of threw, like I said, wherever Y was with a $10,000 project, just throw that out the window at first. You want to be okay with it going in there just like that. And the next thing is I was knocking on doors, not literally, but figuratively, cold calling, cold emailing hundreds and hundreds of people. And you got to do it. I've been trying to figure out the way for being in business now for 19 years, looking at things and going, how can you eliminate the cold call? People talk about it all the time. It's like, no one wants a cold call. I don't want a cold call. Nobody does. Been trying to look at different ways to eliminate that completely. I don't know of any other way that you have to incorporate some of that. I'm not saying that should be your go-to solution, but at the same time, you got to get over that. And you can quickly, if you're good at it, to build rapport to then get those referrals faster.
It seems like the top producers in real estate, we're into real estate still, are still doing cold calls, as long as building their list, a referral base and all that, or talking to expireds. I mean, there's something to be said about getting out there and meeting people face to face too, especially
Absolutely.
in your community. So the other ones is treat others with respect and enjoy the ride.
Yeah. I think enjoy the ride is sometimes the one that's the hardest. When you're putting everything together as a business owner and you start to achieve some sort of success, it doesn't matter big or small. You sometimes get a little bit ahead of yourself and forget about, as you said earlier, the systems and everything in place, where you need to put those things in place, where you need to look at bookkeeping options, but it's 7:00 at night and you want to go at least enjoy something, hey, I sold something. Hey, we got a new client. Hey, they extended us, whatever the situation is. And sometimes you just have to take a pause and understand that this is a ride, it's a journey, and you need to just enjoy it. But you also can't forget about some of those little things, but those are actually fun too. And whatever it is, whether it's payroll, accounting pieces, or you need to interview somebody, start to figure those things out, but have fun doing it. And if you hate it, absolutely hate it, just enjoy that experience and then outsource it next. Dead serious. Like, you have to enjoy that though. And as a business owner, watching myself and others go through that, when you're not enjoying it, it's not worth, it's just not worth it, because you're going to work 60, 70 hours a week, 80 hours a week. God only knows how much more the numbers go up sometimes. If you don't enjoy any facet of it, it's going to be a long road and everything's going to be painful. So you have to enjoy it.
That goes back to another thing, is like, live in the moment.
Yeah.
Live in the moment. Enjoy what you're doing. Do the best you can now and make the most of it and enjoy it. I mean, it can be painful, but like, get something out of it.
You have to. And there's a little pain in everything, right? I mean, to grow, there's always the growth pains. No matter, even if you're doing something new, you're going to have to push yourself out of your comfort zone. And sometimes it hurts.
Yep. That's so true. And then, okay, coming out of a blabism, for those who were watching on Blab and those in the podcast, you'll just have to tune into one of my schools and find out what a blabism is. We're going to go back to number 1. Number 5 is number 1, do the work.
Yeah. Well, I think, like we just said, enjoy the ride, and you go through all those other things that I mentioned. You have to come back to it. And after you enjoy that ride, and you just, figured something out, and it's like, all right, here's what we're going to do, and we're going to outsource this. You got to come back to it and go, okay, let me put those things in place so that when the next time this comes up, that system's already there. And it's a circle. It's that circle of life for the entrepreneur.
Yeah. So your book that you liked was Marketing Lessons from the Grateful Dead, which I already tagged. I didn't really look into it. A lot of times I'll listen to it. What's all that about? Marketing Lessons from the Grateful Dead.
Absolutely. So first off, I'm a huge Grateful Dead fan. I'm also a big music fan, trying to see as many live shows as possible. The one thing that with the Grateful Dead of coming out of I would say original social media marketers is very interesting. They, started off and playing pretty much anywhere, but they started to record their content, and they kept a very good track record of what they did. And they had very big sound engineers, good sound engineers, high quality stuff all the time, much like you're doing, Bill, with Blab and things like that, keeping everything high quality. Then they would give that away so anybody could have it. And by doing that, they just created a grassroots effort and a community that they then sold to over and over and over again, that were loyal to whatever that they would do, good, bad, or indifferent. and loyal over time, and still to this day, 50 years later, still there. But when you look at it, it's a very distinct content marketing plan that then build a community right behind it. And there's a lot of lessons in there, and there's tons. And it breaks it down in a small little book, and it's beautiful. If a small business owner, you don't know, understand social media, but you might have a little pull in your heart for Jerry Garcia. It's a great little read.
Sounds like a great book. I've got it tagged here, and I love to listen to books. Just listen to a couple. Very good. So what we're going to do is we're going to finish up. We're going to go to a break. We're going to finish up and come back with one last question and a little commercial.
Cool.
Okay, coming back off the break, how can the listener get a hold of you, Marty?
Sure. Website, badrhinoinc.com. Every podcast or interview I do, I just give out my email, marty@badrhinoinc.com. If you're following on Twitter, martymjm.com, or martymjm is the handle. And feel free to reach out. Anybody I do an interview for, simple questions and things like that, I might not get to them right away, but fire away. I'm more than happy to answer them. That's what social media and being out there is all about.
And we'll have the show notes at timelinesofsuccess.com or timelinesnetcast.com. Very good. And how can the listener help you? What can we do to help you?
Wow. I mean, that's awesome. I love when they ask it right here in the recording. Normally it's like after the fact. I think the first thing is on social media, if you're a business owner, treat it like a real medium. I did a couple talks about this recently, where we're in traditional, New York, Madison Avenue type atmosphere, and people are still, social media. That was about a year and change ago, and that's really drastically changed. And I think small businesses can really leverage it. So do some good out there. But outside of that, we work with a variety of businesses, large and small, across the U.S. and even international. And if you know of anybody that can utilize our service, please refer. If we can help you out in any way, we're a couple of people here that are always out in the community, and we have a team of 15 people that are spread out across the country, and we're still growing. So it's a lot of fun, and it's a blast.
We could talk about that, the future of what you just talked about, a team of 15 spread out across the country. Because I think you're going to see like big media, not media companies, but they'd be marketing media companies, I guess, new media marketing media companies. And maybe forming alliances and comparing notes and really getting good at what they do and monopolizing some of the areas. There'll always be the smaller guys, but there's so much to do, and some people just will have it. The top 5% will know what to do. Very good. So one last question.
Sure.
You're in Eastern Pennsylvania, close to Philadelphia. What is your favorite food?
My favorite food? So I like a lot of food. That's for sure. My favorite food is just a great steak. Put me in Ruth Chris. And let's go. New York strip, get some potatoes in there, some vegetables, and pretty much go crazy on all the a la carte stuff. I mean, that to me is a good meal.
Well, you didn't say Philly cheesecake, Philly steak sandwich, Philly.
So as a born and bred Philly guy, you won't get me into any of the traps about my hometown. Whether it's throwing, snowballs at Santa Claus and all the other crap that you hear. We like to be the birthplace of freedom, and it's a great city. It's growing, and we're also really coming up in the tech world. A lot of cool things going on in Philadelphia. So never get me to say, oh, it's a cheesesteak.
I've been there many a time, and one of my roommates, when we were second lieutenants together, was from Philadelphia, and he used to talk about having a Philly cheese steak sandwich all the time. He loved it with cheese whiz.
Yeah.
On the white bread. Very good. Well, thank you. Hold on for a few minutes. We'll come up and blab if there's any questions from the audience. I'd like to do that. That'll be on the YouTube portion. You can go over to this podcast at timelinesofsuccess.com and find this episode, which will be 240. Yes, 240 is the episode. And you can also just put in Marty. You'll find Marty's episode if you go into search. It works really well. Thanks, Marty. Appreciate it. It's late at night, and it's going to be up tonight, this podcast. So
that's great.
Be there for the morning. Take care.
All right. Thanks.
So if anybody wants to come up, ask Marty any questions that Sometimes after the show, it's really interesting. We get some of the best content and information for 10 or 15 minutes. I know it's late. You sound like you're really, really busy with your business and do a lot of podcasts. Are you the marketing arm of your
Yeah.
company?
So I'm all the business development piece and developing more and more content. We have a team of people. But as you know, when you're a principal and working along with a partner, and you want to make sure that you can divide and conquer the best way possible. And I still involved in the strategy pieces with my clients, but the day-to-day stuff, very rarely now. So now it's all about Bad Rhino and talking about things like this. And
You need somebody just constantly going out there generating work.
Yep.
No matter what your business is, you need lead generation. Whether it's design, build, construction, you need somebody just focusing. And the other people have to, quote unquote, do the work too, because there's work to be done. Like you guys are out, you're doing videos today?
Oh yeah, they're out there doing videos. We have a handful of people going out to. They hopefully should be back soon. I'm surprised they're not.
So late.
Maybe they're just taking the equipment home. But we had just 2 sets of people going out to 2 small businesses, 2 newer clients, and you know how it is, Bill. I mean, today with social media, you can't just post something. You can't just use text. You're going to have to do different pieces of media. Kind of stay away from multimedia, but you want to make sure that videos are done, even if they're just shot on your phone, and as long as they're done well, but then they're edited and they're have some lighting and some mics and some things like that can really set you apart.
I've got some nice mics. I got especially for these phones here, because we do that in real estate. We experiment with real estate, and we've actually done pretty well with social media and real estate without using Zillow and some of these other things. Just doing it just by a simple blog site for my wife, and with taking pictures. And I'd like to get out. This is like a reinvention. We moved to a whole different city after having a successful company in California. After I was activated, and it's just there's so much to do. But I tell you what, there's so much to do, and then you got to figure out what to do. Hey, you talked about bookkeeping. Do you have any software that you like to use with your company?
So we just moved after 5 years with Wave, which I love. But we were just hired a new person, and they're moving us over to, I think the final thing is going to be FreshBooks.
Oh, FreshBooks, yeah. Yeah,
and going to move over there just because that's their preference. Nothing else, nothing against Wave. I've toyed with a lot of them, from Wave and QuickBooks, and now we'll be in FreshBooks. And it's all about who's doing it. For us, when we were heavily involved with it, we liked Wave, but someone else coming in and they want FreshBooks, then have at it, because it's now all yours.
It takes some work to change over Wave. We still use QuickBooks. We're in the process of slowly, after 20 years evolving away from QuickBooks. But I have 3 companies, and QuickBooks is well established still, but I hate QuickBooks anymore. Yeah. And I used to have it on steroids. I had an Exchange server with 2 licenses, so we could pull it up 2 different places at the same time. Yeah. And everything is QuickBooks, and QuickBooks is really, I think they've missed part of the social media. The only reason they still have a lot of clients is because they have a lot of old-time small businesses that accountants use.
Yeah, and it's hard to switch off, like you said earlier. There's a lot of work that goes involved with that.
But I've heard a lot of good things about FreshBooks, so I'll be redoing it. Right now, it's like painful. Transition's never fun. No, but what are your other businesses? Real estate. It's kind of weird in real estate. We have a small real estate brokerage in California, and we had one here in Reno, Nevada. But my wife didn't want to go ahead and do what I wanted to do, which was build an office, and focus at recruiting, making it look like a Mac store. So she went to work for somebody. She does pretty well. She's been a broker a long time. So we have, and then I have a relocation service. And what we found too, this podcasting has actually done pretty well for us here towards lead generation. I'll put a little tiny commercial for her in the podcast.
Yeah, podcasting is great. That's why I've been pretty much hitting the circuit as fast as possible this year.
They say if you can get on shows, it's actually better in some fields like you're doing than actually doing a podcast.
Yeah, I have it for the second half of the year. It's more of a side project than anything outside of Bad Rhino, because we have some really cool things, and I have a lot of cool marketers and business partners around the world, actually.
I just do once a week and line up one and reserve. I do a live one, which is experiment. We've been doing this for a while. That's semi-live, like we're doing now. And that will be up on, again, tonight. I have to edit it. There's going to be 2 more shows slipped into there. We're going to put the, in the RSS feed, we do a political show Sundays, which actually does really well. It brings in a lot of people. And what's amazing is I went back and looked at the downloads on older episodes. We're getting a lot of downloads on older episodes on that political show. You wouldn't think so.
Right.
It's unexpected, the political show. And then WP Tonic is number 2, but we keep them on the same feed, but then they have separate feeds too. So you'll be stuck in there. I got to throw 2 other quick shows up that were recorded this weekend and last night because they need to get up in order, and then you'll be up late tonight. So if anybody has anything else out there for Marty, I know it's late. He's doing a lot of work. I appreciate you coming on.
No problem. I appreciate this. I like doing this.
Usually somebody pops up. I got 2 forecasts. You've seen Blab. You've been on a couple 100 days, I think, if I remember. What have you done with Blab so far? I mean, you said you haven't done a lot.
I haven't done a lot. So I've jumped on to a couple of different ones, watched them, had some friends on there, throw some questions in the live chat. I haven't been on, I think this is actually, it's probably, I think the second one. I think I did one as a test one probably about 100 days ago.
But there's no reason why you can't get the picture and quality equal to what we have right now, both of us.
Oh, yeah.
What are you using for camera?
I'm just using my Mac.
Oh, really? Oh, I love the Mac. The Mac and the Chromebook actually comes out pretty well, too.
Yep.
Solid state, runs it really well.
Yeah, we just actually finished renovating part of my office. So, like, my camera and everything else is not quite set up yet. So, trying to make everything, work the best way you can. I find getting the tools that are individual. And I think somebody asked earlier just around, Mac or, we were talking about PC and Mac, but just talking about desktop and things like that. I think it's changed where if you're doing things like this, you want to have a camera set up that's good, higher quality. If you're doing it regular, if that's your main focus, it doesn't have to be, a $20,000 camera. It just needs to be something that's good.
It's only a 480 pictures of 480 on this right now. So you can overkill too.
That's true too.
Like, you look really good. I think what you have is absolutely perfect for what you need. I mean, you don't need to improve on what you have for Blab.
No, you don't. There's other medium that you want to make sure that you're in HD. But I see tools like Blab being more and more the norm. I don't see Blab being around forever, to be honest. I think Facebook Live will crush it.
I thought about what you just said.
Yeah, I think Facebook Live is going to crush something like this, but I also don't think it's going to go away. Much like Google Plus is still sitting out there, and a handful of other things that are sitting out there.
Well, I use Google Plus somewhat. I mean, we'd still do some different shows, and we do some live streaming for folks out in the casinos. We experiment. But I think the same way. I wonder what the future of Blab is. I know they aren't really. They're owned by a gentleman in San Francisco, and they spend $11 million. Now they're not. They use Twitter to hook in, but they're not part of Twitter. So who knows what's going to happen? We'll see. They put a lot of money into it. You know how expensive it is to start something like this.
Yeah. I think it has. These things have to kind of brew nowadays. Yeah. So I think we're still in the very early stages of Blab. I don't know. It's just kind of odd to me.
It's easier. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's easier than using call recorder and Skype, believe it or not. But Skype's going to give you a higher quality picture, HD, and your sound. This sound is okay, but you can better sound on Skype. But sometimes you can mess up your sound on Skype pretty darn easy if you don't know what you're doing.
It's just true. Most of the time when you're doing something recording on Skype, I always recommend recording it twice. Once you can do through the tools via Skype and some other things, and then throwing another one on there that's usually a screen capture that will capture both sides of it.
That's not bad. It's taking more resources. The other thing, too, if you have a mixer, you can put a little RL5 or a Zoom or something to record the wave. But all the different sounds. And then movies are becoming much more effective. So I'll let you go. If anybody else wants to come up, stay in tune. We'll get you back next year and see how things are going. Hey, the other thing, too, is you guys might fit really well on WP Tonic. It's a tech show. I'll think about this. I'm trying to get them to change. We do a different genre each month. And we looked at like learning management systems within WordPress. We looked at different plugins. We used to look at plugins a lot more. We do less of that. We do themes. We're doing a business theme this month. And I think it would be better, instead of doing a business theme each month, is to have somebody from business that uses WordPress and how they apply it come on.
Sure.
And talk to the programmers, developers, and the small shops, the web shops. You ever go to WordCamp?
No, I've never been there. Like, I like the, so like the.
Yeah, Philly, they have WordCamp USA in Philly.
Yeah, I know. what we do and where I fit in is I play around with it. So I know the nuts and bolts. I know how to do some basic programming. I know how to set up WordPress. I know all the plugins. My thing is I've been getting out of that into the strategy to how you can utilize it. So with things like that popped up, like Shopify and all those other things that have popped up, it's amazing to me how it all is starting to tie together. And where, as you remember, like when WordPress came out, it was like, oh my God, everyone was like, you can do this? Like, and it's not going to take, and you know, people are putting out beautiful sites with no background. But that evolved, and now you see the Shopify and the e-commerce piece evolve. So it's very fascinating to me to talk about that from a business side, from a business owner perspective. And when they come to us, most of them are like deer in the headlights. They know what they've read, but then they also don't know how to apply it. And then they just want things to convert, which any business does, right?
Yeah.
So it is a process, but it revolves a little bit more, I would say, strategy and skill than it used to from a strategy standpoint to guide that business through. It's not just picking a theme and throwing it up.
No, I don't. I use Genesis myself with Dynamic, and I've got a lot of child themes. I have a child theme I've built myself. That's why so many of my websites are simple and look quick, but they're just testing most of them. Yeah. But anyway, hey, Mike, you want to come up for a second? Or are you busy? He's probably crazy busy. So yeah, there's Mike.
There he comes.
See, he's got the check mark. We got your mic fixed. Let's touch your mic.
It's up and running.
Touch it. Hit it.
Test.
But he actually had he has Windows 10. He had 2 mics going. He had his dynamic mic, but he's also bringing in sound via his computer too. And we finally fixed that. It was really weird. I've never seen that happen.
That is odd.
Windows 10 loaded automatically, which without him saying load me.
I know a lot of people that were upset with that.
Yeah, it scared me to death because I don't know how to, once I get into something, it's kind of like, remember that little game where you had the things that you went on your fingers and the harder you pulled?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's how I am with this stuff. And I go, oh my gosh. And I'm calling all my tech friends. I had Bill on the phone and all I had to do was do a, what he was called a hard reset.
Hard boot. Hard reset.
Boot. And then I was good to go. So.
But the other thing too is on his microphones, I've never seen anything like it. Zoom is an amazing tool. You use Zoom much?
Yeah, I use Zoom a lot.
Zoom is just amazing. I've done podcasts with Zoom.
And Zoom is great.
It's another way to do a podcast. Hey, Marty, we'll let you go. I'm going to talk to Mike for a couple seconds. Cool. And I appreciate it very, very much.
Oh, no, pleasure is all mine. I appreciate it. I like the way you run your interviews and kind of loose. And I like the recording on Blab. I think it's a great idea.
It's good. It's really good. So I'll give you that $7 Blab course when it comes up. And
there you go.
The show, and you can push it around.
All right. Take care, guys.
All right. Take care.
Marty.
See ya.
Bye-bye. Yep. Bye-bye.
So anyway, I haven't talked to you in a while. I'm tired. Long weekend.
Yeah, I know. I just kind of buzzed by.
Yeah, I had a lot of.
So you like that over me? I did some remodeling. You like that?
Oh, looks good with the girls. Yeah.
My one of the dads gave that to me. So let me see. Well, I got to get a little closer. Oh, wow. That's a nice zoom. How'd you zoom that? I just took it off and moved it. Oh. Wait a minute. No. I got to get out of the, how do I get out of it? Is that the 920, that camera? Yeah. God, it looks good. It looks better than mine. So, that's so he, a dad did that. And that 920 really does work well with Windows. He gave me the picture. So. That's nice. And 920 works amazingly well. And then too, I don't know if you see there that we don't have to ask to have that option, but it won't do anything as long as you're recording. Which are you seeing the square you can do with the drop-ins? Yeah. Right here. Yeah, but if I'm recording, it'll kick us out. Well, it won't kick you out. It just won't let you put something in there. So if I paste that right now, if you type something in there, it'll say, nope, can't do it while you're recording. Because they don't want. Yeah, they're not ready yet. I'm sure they're probably concerned with copyright stuff. Yeah, they got to watch that, especially if somebody streams it in. So social media and Blab, how do they? Robert, how we doing? We just had Robert jump in up there. So just finishing off a long weekend. As soon as we got back, my wife ran out. And we had a fender bender. One of my daughter's friends came over and parked sort of behind the car on the right side of the car, about a foot into the drive out area. So they hit fenders, which is too bad. That's expensive. I got one better than that. My wife pulled out and tore off both of our rearview mirrors.
When I was a kid, I think my dad somebody left the door open and they hit it on the fence or something.
So it was just, and it was bad enough that that had to be fixed. And fortunately, the car insurance that we have, if it's if two cars are insured by the same person, it waives the deductible. So even though they were both our cars, it waived the deductible. So.
Yeah, it's still pain. You don't want those. So those are not good.
No. So like every time now somebody leaves, because I always park in the driveway, and I say, anytime somebody leaves, don't hit my car. Don't hit my car. Don't hit my car.
My daughter's 16, so.
Oh yeah.
This weekend, she doesn't. It'll be a while until she gets her license, but that's scary, and it's really dangerous too, as you know.
Kids. Get your temps.
Yeah. Hey, what the topic is social media and blab. How do they fit? I haven't been paying attention to blab too much. I've been so busy. I've missed I want to try to catch these town hall meetings.
Well, there was a bunch of, let's see, there was a blab. I think this thing, and there was something else. You know what? I'm kind of getting distracted here because I was listening to the Apple stuff today.
Yeah, I need to watch that. I can watch it here.
Yeah,
it'll be on the podcast. Folks, if you want to catch the Apple podcast, just go put it on the podcast. Let me do it right now. And
I know Blab had a thing where now when that was showing, it took up basically the whole screen, and there were no other boxes. It was just one box. Looks like Mike just jumped on here. Hey, Mike, how we doing? And because Blab did it with the NCAA tournament too.
Yeah, I saw that. They were showing part of it, but they weren't recording it. They can legally do that as long as they don't record it.
Jump in, and they were doing not a pool, a bracket. You could do brackets, and they had a contest going on.
You go to Apple on the if you have an iPhone, just go to the app and hit this little search, and then put in Apple, and you'll get the Apple Keynote. And you hit that. I'll show you. You can subscribe. You can download today, March 2016, hour and 3 minutes, and you can watch it on demand. So
it was kind of a mix of them being all wrapped up in the colors of the iPhone, and also the degree of light so that it doesn't blind you at night. I mean, it was just a lot of smoke and not a lot of mirror. It was. Or a lot of sizzle and not steak. So, and then they introduced the new iPads, and I think they were going back to the 4-inch phone. They were going to make
a real small phone, huh?
Yeah,
I love this phone.
They called it I think it was the iPhone iOS, not iOS. No, IE. I don't know, but so nothing. There was nothing. I didn't catch it from the beginning, but I don't think there was anything brand new. It was more just more power. And then I guess that smaller phone was going to have the high-end camera on it.
That's good. The camera is phenomenal. That's a great idea because
my wife has the smaller. She's got the smaller one, and I said, "Hey, would you want a bigger phone?" Because I think I think I got the 6, and I know what's the name.
I've got the 6 too. Yeah, the big
6S.
Yeah. So I got the 6S, the big one, a lot of RAM. Got the big one.
I said that was a little too big. just carrying my pocket.
What is that? That's part of my.
I think live stream for Facebook will ever come to Android. I don't know. I don't know why. Why is Android? Do you know why Android is so slow on the uptake on this stuff?
I have no idea. Why would it be slow?
It's just that it hits the iPhone, but Android doesn't get the same love. I guess people that can't. There was even things Periscope wise and stuff that you couldn't do that the people at Androids they couldn't do with the iPhones.
Hey, I'm looking at Blab right now on social. I guess they've got it sort of in categories now. It's hard to figure out how many people are actually on Blab.
Yeah, that was the other thing too. They instituted that. There were a couple other things.
There's a lot of people on Blab, I guess.
They're all skipping.
I'm looking at it right now. See how many people are on Blab.
But I did hear, just like what Marty mentioned, I had heard some people talking today that they thought that Facebook Live would overtake the little people like Blab. So.
Creating awesome live, talking about Apple event, new changes. That's good artwork. I like how they've dropped it down to a square, which is 1,000 by 1,000. I I'm looking online right now. There's quite a few people online, but I don't see how they, at the cost, if they spend $11 million.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I know maybe it's because of the tabs that I'm on, but even today when I was watching that Marty McFadden was doing kind of a play-by-play on what was going on with Apple, and it was kind of the same people that I've seen.
Yeah.
Even the Apple thing only had, it didn't break 100. I think there were maybe on that
with Marty, right?
Well, no. This was just the. I don't know who hosted it. No, Marty did something later. But I don't know who hosted the Apple event, but it didn't break 100 as far as live viewers. It maybe hit 60. So. And again, it was a lot of people that a lot of profile pictures that I had recognized just from being on, just by listening and being on one. So. I just think of the other thing. I mean, how many times have we been on and we go, hey, help, and Sean or one of the key players jumps in and is helping you. So so I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder how many people are subscribed to Blab right now.
As I said, that would be that's probably a number they don't want to give out. And,
I gotta hurry up and get this Blab course out. I was thinking about the name, using the name Blab. Hopefully, I don't get in trouble using Blab. I don't think I will. I think it promotes them or helps them more than anything.
What about just live streaming instead of Blab? Yeah, Blab's going to pin you in because I knew the girl that put out a Periscope course, and she just stopped. She kind of pulled back on it. She's not really marketing it anymore because there wasn't a whole lot to learn with it. I think the value, and I don't know what the back end of yours is what to do with these mediums and what to do with these links that you get to promote on other vehicles.
Well, I use the heck out of them, I think.
Not just how to do a Blab, and how to work the buttons. It's.
Well, no. I agree 100% what you said. The whole idea of Blab is 2 courses: is to get on Blab, start playing with Blab, get your colors, your screen down. Like Gary V needed Blab this course because he was.
But I would say I would not put Blab in your title. I would say live streaming, or video streaming, or.
And in school,
and then maybe in your subtext, say, Blab, Periscope, Mevi, whatever the ones that are.
Yeah.
Because that Blab could come back and say, hey, you can't do that.
You can teach how to do something. You just can't.
Yeah, but you're using the Blab name to sell.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll have to ask them.
So, I mean, I don't know if if you said how to use Google, buy my course.
Well, they do that all the time. Facebook. How to use Facebook? They do that all the time.
But not so much that. I think the bigger issue is it doesn't pigeonhole you as you're going to build that course.
Well, no, it's just an element. Here's what I'm doing: it's one of 3 elements. The first element is get on Blab, start playing with it, get your lights down, create your YouTube, and now when you're ready, we're going to create a podcast. So it's really the start of the Blab to the podcast. The podcast still gets.
But couldn't you do that? You'd do that same thing if you were trying to teach somebody Facebook Live. It would be the same thing. Or
I've got a couple domains. Blabcast is one of them. That's my automated site. So paste.
Yeah, that would be my 2 cents. I wouldn't put Blab in your title of your course.
And school Blab.
Because if something does happen, now you have to rebrand what you're trying to sell.
Yeah, I'm mostly worried about the website. You can repoint it. I'm not worried about the brand. I mean, I know what you're saying. There's School Blab. That's a framework right there. School Blab for a course. Real simple. School Blab.
And that just comes to mind the more we talk about it. What happened with my friends that. Everything that they did was had LinkedIn in all of their username, their URLs, and then when LinkedIn changed and now they're trying to now they have to go in a different direction. They have to change all that stuff because they were branded LinkedIn.
So what happened to them?
Well, they lost. I mean, LinkedIn changed so many things. A lot of the marketing tricks that these courses were teaching, you can't do. I mean, LinkedIn just came with another one today, where how you can connect and engage with your second connections, which is different now. And I read a little bit about it because, again, I have independent software that allows me to do a lot with LinkedIn. that a person on LinkedIn can't do. And I've shared it with some of the purists, and they won't look at it because they feel that, they're, I don't know.
I've got Nick.
I said, okay, well, I can send out 500 emails a day to my LinkedIn contacts. You can send out 10. So
right. I've got Netcasting 101 too, and then you have the beginner site. No, starting out with Blab or something like that for the first course. Starting out with Blab.
Right.
Do Blab?
Yeah, I think that makes sense, because if you need to, you can always rename your first course if you have to. But you won't have to rename. You won't have to rename your program.
I think the biggest thing is your domain. You got to be careful with your domain.
Yeah. No.
And one fun one I have is Blabcast. I'm not worried about that. Blab.
No, I think if you had those to use as a promotion, because that's kind of where you're focused, fine. But again, I wouldn't want you to pigeonhole yourself all around Blab as things change, because tomorrow another video live streaming could come out, and you're going to want to teach them the same thing. And
so we're going to start with one simple live stream. We're going to choose Blab right now as one of the easiest way to go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I have the other tricks too on the podcasting side. So I use declicking, and I've written a little system to automate the cleaning up of the sound. Make the podcast sound pretty good, to level them out and do that sort of thing.
And then, I'd sent you maybe a guest, and you can email them. And I told them that usually email to get their information. I met these guys at a little local networking event, and they have a software, or not a software, an app that they're looking to use for people doing exploration for shale, oil, and things like that. Yeah. They're pretty much, most of their clients here in Ohio, but they were techie guys that are sitting around doing this app. It sounded kind of interesting. So
that does make me think, though. I probably want to hit Netcasting 101. The only thing I don't like about Netcasting, I got Netcasting 101 over in DigitalOcean, so I'll probably shut down DigitalOcean, which is pretty interesting, and put it all over on who knows. I'm sort of mixed right now. So much stuff going on. Too many. It's hard creating websites, and all that is tough.
Sure.
Here's my test site. You ever looked at what is it? Blabcast? I think I just stuck it. Let me stick it in there. Blabcast. You ever seen this site? Click that. That's my automated site. Everything's automated on that one. It just loads it and does everything. Kind of fun. So that's it.
Oh, okay.
I think it's even got its own Twitter site too. Yeah, it goes into Twitter.
So and then I think I sent it to you. It was maybe Friday. So it was that link, because you're always talking about making some money. So I want you to watch my buddy Tony. So you want to watch that.
So I think I might have seen that when I was on the road. I remember sort of seeing that, watching it on my laptop.
Yeah, Tony has, it's about 2 minutes, and then you can go to the longer, then you put your email and your name in there, and then it'll pop up the webinar that he did I think Thursday. Yeah, the first thing was just a couple of minutes, and then that little box pops up.
So it's got Mike Sheehan on. These are all the people who are on right now who I'm following, I guess. On the left side. So anything new on Blab?
Well, I said the way the platform of what's live, what's coming up. I know that now as a host, we don't have to ask for the drop in, so that's popped in.
Yeah,
that's sitting there, so we don't have to ask for that. So that looks pretty automated. And then now they're looking to do more of the widescreen stuff.
Pretty interesting. I haven't heard that yet.
Well, I said the Apple thing. Whoever hosted that was on a widescreen. It basically took up 2 boxes. And then the NCAA basketball was on a widescreen.
Was that widescreen?
Yep.
Wow.
So they're doing that. It looks like they're popping back and forth between share and then share the last 30 seconds. So I don't know what's controlling that, but that seems to be popping, because I'd shared yours. Now, here's the one thing. If I share it on Facebook, it'll show over in the live chat, but you share it on Twitter and I don't see it. I don't see my name showing up there. And then, what constitutes the bouncing back and forth between the tan box, share the last 30 seconds, and then share on Facebook and Twitter.
All I have is share the last 30 seconds right now, and then I've got the little code embed.
Yeah, and mine was, and during your show, I did see the other options available. So
yeah, I didn't see them.
What's constituting that or what's controlling that, I don't know.
Oh, this is painful. Yeah, I think you're right. It's so frustrating.
What's that?
I put that School of Blab and I put a framework in place. I'd probably redo it again. I built so many websites. You go in there and tear them down and put them in bed.
Can't you? Yeah, I mean, I'm saying easy enough for me to say, but can't you just edit that?
You can't. It's still a lot of work to take one out, clean up your files, your database.
Well,
sure don't screw up something.
I mean, make it use your netcasting as your
School.
Your school, and then your School of Blab being chapter 1.
No, actually, the first course is we're gonna video stream. We're gonna use Blab. We're gonna start getting familiar with Blab. Blab is the fastest way to get competent at talking like we're talking right now. Getting your mic right, getting and put it up on YouTube.
I know. I can speak from experience. Sure, absolutely.
It makes you better at what we're doing. He said something different. You can waste a lot of time on Blab too.
Yeah.
Like,
some of those like Jonathan's. I mean, sometimes those guys are on for 2 or 3 hours.
Oh, afterward the on Saturday.
No, that Jonathan Tripp, his Monday through Friday show, the Blab Nation. Yeah, he'll tape the first hour, and then they might be on for easily another hour, and sometimes longer.
There's a guy. He's got blabnation.com.
Yeah,
that's the same thing.
Well, that's his show. He's not promoting a course. So he's on Blab and he's talking about Blab. Yours is a course that you're taking it offline to teach how to do it.
It's got domain, I think.
And there was conversation about that as he was moving forward. I know he was kind of pulling away from that a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think overall. I'm not sure.
But he's doing a show on Blab. He's doing it's called Blab, and he's doing a show on Blab.
Right. Well, I always thought that Blab is a great way to do what we're doing right now. Just learn how to speak and talk and communicate. Learn a little bit about sound, and you can turn it into a podcast pretty darn easy. You see what I do for podcasting.
Mm-hmm.
It does speed up a bit, and you can really mess up sound. Call recorder with Skype does take a little expertise, hooking everything up. But this does too, but not as much. So,
no, I can only agree because that's where it's taken me. Is my ability to
better
engage with people and stuff has increased because of Blab, much better and quicker than Periscope, which Marty again was leading. Everyone's talking about Snapchat. Well, I go on Snapchat and I got nobody watching it because I don't have a following there.
Right. Yeah.
A guy that's huge, who's already, who's crossed that line of having people that'll just blindly follow him. Not that it's a bad thing, but, obviously whatever platform that person goes to is going to work because his followers are going to go there with him or her. So that's always the tough part, getting the chicken or the egg.
I'm going to drop in a link real fast. This is my test site that I've been using on DigitalOcean. Is very fast.
On the screen or in the chat?
I'm not going to give you the admin side here. So this is Netcasting 101. I'm just playing around with this. The thing is, on the school, I think you just strictly want it to be school. School.
Yeah.
Everything else, like the resources, the about.
I mean, it's like Lewis House. He's got the School of Greatness.
Yeah, that's a good name. You just want different. Yeah, this isn't like courses. If you play around with that, this is my experiment. If you hit course on there.
Hold on, let me. All right, courses. Oh yeah, I think this makes a lot of sense as far as going forward, regardless of. Now the one I just see view course Netcasting 101. So is that right? Okay. Test 1, Blab course.
That's just my experiment page. Yeah, if you go
beginner. Okay. Yeah, I think that makes a lot more sense. I think even just the 101, people are thinking, hey, this isn't some advanced thing that's going to scare me away.
And netcasting is what it's all about. This is what netcasting is at the start. And then you go into YouTube. Yeah. And then
don't pigeonhole because then
the first course is never intended. It's just the first course is just School Blab. It's just about Blab.
Hey, there's Jason. Hey, Jason.
Hey,
Jason Bates.
Haven't been up. Haven't seen too much lately. Jason, how's the interest rates? My wife was telling me interest rates were up today. She said they're up above 4. Yeah, I was too. I went for the weekend really fast to Las Vegas. Well, they turned all the power off. The only show we didn't get up was the Weekly Scam. It's the only show that didn't get up. I could have made one.
Yeah, I know, and that's my fault. I'm sitting here, and it was like 8:30 before I realized.
You called me. I think I did the same thing.
I blew that one.
I think I did the same thing. It was too late to call you. I said, I don't want to call you.
No,
I was tired. We could have made it. I don't know if I could have got it up. I would have to get it up tonight.
We just had a unique situation here with a neighbor, and so I was kind of preoccupied anyway. So,
well, when I have a neighbor, sounds weird.
Well, it's not good. It's a health issue, so
that's not good. Yeah.
No. So yeah,
we're recording, so we don't want to touch.
Right.
Can't
violate HIPAA.
Yeah. We need to set up a.
No, so that kind of distract. I mean, even from most of last week, but then it's still ongoing. It's just an unfortunate thing with a dear friend of ours.
I'm seeing Jason down there. I'm trying to think here. I've got to come up with timelines here.
What he asks, have you been using drop-in feature?
That's a new one.
Yeah, I would say, Jason, I've played around with it. It was kind of neat. We were on a Blab, and Sean, the VP from Blab, actually jumped on, and he turned it on.
Well, that's us.
Now, at least I'm seeing here on this one that it automatically uploads, so we don't have to ask for it. I don't know if you've done a Blab recently as a host and seen the box become available. And then the other thing is that it will not work if you're recording. So if you're going to want to show something, you got to turn off record.
I just realized that, Jason, we still haven't done a timeline. I just had to sort to figure out if I could remember if we'd done a timeline. We've talked so many times.
No, we haven't, because we wanted Jason to come on as a guest on our weekly scam to talk about what first home buyers need to watch out for with mortgages.
That'll be a great show. Yeah, and weekly scam. What we missed last week, we're going to talk about USPHS, and I wrote down the weekly scam things for last week and for next week.
And then what was it? I had I was going to talk about.
It's going to be U.S. Post Office and Netflix. And next week was going to be U.S. Post Update, and then Apple Mouse, and Craigslist vacation package and apartments. Craigslist scams with people going on Craigslist and buying a resort vacation, and no one's there when they show up.
And then the other where they go on Craigslist and think they're renting an apartment, and they go to move in, and there's no building, or somebody else is in the apartment because
it's happening on the vacation rentals real bad.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm scheduled this week. I think next week of the shows. But here's another thing I'm challenging right now. I stopped Visita, which is my scheduling system, because I wanted to try some other scheduling systems. I might go back to it this week. I'm just trying to figure out how to spend less money too. How to make more and spend less. That's one thing about this business. You get going, you can make more and spend less. How is insurance doing? Are you selling insurance?
Yeah, we tweaked a few things, and it's kind of bumped up my my lead stream. So
how about your other business?
Very good.
Is it doing well? That's the secret business.
Yeah, that's the secret one. That's the NDA one. But then I sent you the info on this other thing that just came up recently. So make sure you watch that.
Well, let me look again. Let me make sure I have that, because you sent it to me on Friday when I was like getting into Las Vegas. I had a nice weekend. It was my family, my 2 girls, and my wife.
Oh, yeah. And then when your daughter had a birthday, didn't your
my daughter
had a birthday too?
On Friday was her birthday.
Yep.
And then Saturday she competed in the state. They both qualified for regionals. But and then I took my daughter to the doctor. My oldest daughter to the doctor today for injuries. You know, they're so intense. She hurt so bad after the meet. I took her in. So
yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, the older one. She really. And then the doctor said, "I won't let my daughter do gymnastics." That was nice. I don't want her to quit at 16. The 13-year-old definitely is way. She'll be 9 next year, level 9. You know the levels, right?
Yeah.
9, and then she'll be 10.
Yep, that mine got to 9, and then that's when she between 8th grade and freshman year and said, I'm retiring, but part of that was she grew about 6 inches.
There's a big difference between 8 and 9. My daughters are done growing, I think. So I got Mike Sheehan, possible guest. Is that it? Yeah, this is possible guest.
Yeah, that I sent that. That would have been later. So there should be something in there around Friday with a link.
Mike Sheehan, March 17th and March 20th is what I have. So let me. I got 3 on the 17th. What was the title?
What's it say?
Let's see.
Let's be a link.
Short intro. Security Business Pro. It says the business. Oh yeah. I was going to watch this. I got it marked to watch it.
Yeah. So the when you open it, it'll be just Tony, my friend Tony, with like 2 minutes, and then to watch the webinar, you just put your email in your.
I watched it up to what they said to put my email in, I think.
Yeah, and that all that is he did a live webinar, and that's the recording of the webinar.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do that. How long's the webinar?
I don't know. They're always too long.
Should I put it in for our Blab friends down below?
No, don't put that in right now.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah, I want you to watch that first. So
okay.
Yep.
All right.
No, we're not sharing. We're not sharing right now.
Okay, not sharing. I just why I asked. I didn't share.
Yeah, secret.
Well, I am tired. I've got to get up 3 shows tonight. Only have to edit.
Yeah. Oh shoot, I got it. Yeah, I had to do something.
I've got to edit one. Yeah. I'll edit the one tonight. This one I'll edit. And then
I got something to do here. With that other thing, my NDA. We can go in and do some work. They use the national time zone or whatever. So at 8 p.m. things reload for me.
Your MBA.
So, my thing that I have the NDA that I signed.
NDA. I thought you said MBA.
NDA, non-disclosure.
I thought you were doing something.
NDA, not NBA. It's an NDA.
Oh no, MBA. So
let me just check here. Yeah. No, I can jump back in here and get some work done. So yeah, I got to scoot as well.
The best thing I do though, just thinking right now, I'm going to Timelines of Success, which is way too long of a domain name. But if you go into schedule, I put the Blab links there, so it's really easy to check. I got to line that next. As soon as we get off, I got to set the links up for this week because I've been so busy. I set up Mondays last week, so we always have Monday. So I'll set it up through Monday, including the scam. Hey, what time are we going to do the scam this Friday?
Well, what were we doing it at 7?
It says 6 p.m.
Eastern
Pacific right now.
So Eastern 7 is okay for me. Now that is Good Friday, so I don't know if you
got to do one. Scam the Good Friday scam.
Yeah. We can do a religious weekly scam.
That's nasty.
But I'd say 7 unless you want to do that one during the day. So why don't you just let me know, because
I'm looking at my schedule. Tuesday, I said 5.
I'm pretty flexible.
I thought it was 4 p.m. I don't know what's going on here.
Well, right. It's 7 my time, 4 yours.
I got to look at my schedule. No, I'm just looking. 4s. The Real Estate Live. Gosh darn it. I cut and paste all the time. I got to get them right. All right. Well, I got to work on this. Too much work. Too much stuff.
Hey guys, thanks for jumping in. We're just kind of jumping out here. Jason, I know Bill will reach back out to you because we want to have you as a guest on our weekly scam to talk about first-time home buyers, what to look for or look out for when they're looking for a mortgage.
Yeah, we get pretty good.
That would be a good show.
It's amazing how many people listen to that crazy show just to come on and listen to it.
Yeah,
that surprised me, and people actually like it because we talk about business and how to avoid the scams, but find the good stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of crazy. Let's see. Monday was Marty. Bad Rhino is the name of this company.
Well, you know what? I was going to tell him something. I mean, I'm looking at Bad Rhino and I'm finding clothes. He's really got to throw the Bad Rhino Inc. because Bad Rhino is a big and tall men's clothing website.
Yeah, Bad Rhino Inc. I'll say that.
Yeah, it's badrhinoinc.com.
And it's social media. By timelines. Bad.
So I'm sure I got to think he's probably had some issues with that.
INC.
Because he's always going just Bad Rhino. But Bad Rhino is a clothing store online.
That's interesting. Bad Rhino. I wonder how well it does.
but Bad Rhino Inc. gets into his place. So, all right. Well, I'm going to jump off. Hey, Jason, it was good seeing you. I know we'll be chatting soon. I know Jason, he has his show on Wednesday. I know he does one show on Wednesdays where he's talking about mortgages and stuff. But
right.
All right. I'm going to sign off. I'll see you guys later.
Okay. Now I've got the address. I got the topic changed. Come on, there it is. So that's the topic. See you all. Thank you for coming in. Let's cut this off. I've actually lost a couple of shows.